Get started. Okay, so let's come to our backs. As you come to your back, you're gonna just take a moment on your back with your footprints on the ground and your arms in whatever position feels the best to you. It can be arms out by your sides, it can be hands resting on your belly, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, whatever you need to do. Let your knees drop in toward each other to touch if that's comfortable. If it's not comfortable, that's okay too. But take a couple moments here to notice your breath, sending it into your back body. And then even more so, notice your breath traveling the entire length of your back. So think of your low back, mid back, and upper back expanding with breath. And then as you exhale, your upper back, mid back, low back releasing. So take a few of these breaths. Your eyes can be open or closed. And as you take these breaths, start to set an intention to take actions today in your practice that are really beneficial for you, very healthy for you, compassionate for you, that'll help you walk off of your mat and into your day feeling better in your body. A few more of these breaths where you feel those three parts of your back, low back, mid back, upper back as you inhale, upper back, mid back, low back as you exhale. And now you can keep your eyes closed or you can open them, but walk your feet in closer to hip distance. And then with your hands coming to your upper thighs, give a little press right at the hip crease. And as you press into the hip crease, just notice, press enough so maybe you can feel a tilt of your pelvis so that your low back lifts a little bit. And from that place, little gentle movements, keeping that press into your upper thighs, little gentle movements through the pelvis. Think of little pivots. You can do little gentle tilts forward and back. You can do little tilts side to side. And then releasing the hands, pull your knees up toward your chest. And they can be wide or narrow, doesn't matter, just whatever feels the best in your body. And then rock a little side to side. And as you rock side to side, maybe notice a little movement of your pelvis so that your sitting bones are moving toward the foot of your mat. And now set left foot down, right knee is in toward your chest. And then you're gonna open the right knee up to the right side. Little start to a hip opener here. Give your foot a flex. And then add little movements forward and back with your knee as you keep it open. Your choice. You can keep your left knee bent, foot on the ground, or you can extend your leg all the way out. Just take a couple of big breaths and notice if there are any spots through your hip joint that feel stiff, stuck, sticky, whatever the word is that you are experiencing right now for sensation. Bring your right knee back into center and give it a little squeeze. And then release your right foot to the ground. And now you're lifting the left knee up toward your chest and opening the knee up toward the left side. Give your foot a flex. And then you're starting to find that movement forward and back with your knee. And then the right leg, you're welcome to keep your knee bent, foot on the ground, or extend your leg all the way out. As you move your knee forward and back, again, notice if there are any spots through this movement that maybe feel a little bit difficult, or if you feel pretty free in this movement. Then bring your knee back into center and give it a squeeze. And now footprints to the ground, walk your feet out wide, wider than your mat, and then gently take your knees side to side here in this windshield wiper. And as you take your knees side to side, you're taking it slow enough so that on each side you can sense and feel whatever sensations are present. And think about giving yourself the detail of where that sensation is and maybe what the quality of that sensation is. One of the things I like to do is notice where it starts and stops. Helps you to start to pinpoint a little bit with a little bit more awareness of what's going on in the body. And now back up to center. Walk your feet into hip distance and then cross right ankle over the left knee, flex your right foot, and then begin to bring your legs in toward your body as close as you need. And that might be keeping your foot on the ground, okay? So wherever that happens to be for you, your feet are active. You can hold on to your foot or your leg if you want to, but rock a little side to side to find that movement toward the foot of your mat with your sitting bones, and then pause in the center. Give your feet a flex and consciously try to tilt your sitting bones down so that your low back unflattens a little bit. Take one more big breath here, just allowing for that stretch, whatever it happens to be. And then set left foot down and right foot down. And now cross left ankle over the right knee. Give feet a flex as you start to lift your legs toward your body as close as you need to go. And then again, find that rocking just a couple times side to side with that intention of length through the low back, sitting bones moving toward the foot of your mat. Keep flexed through the feet. Tilt your pelvis so your sitting bones are moving down, unflattening the low back a little bit. Take a big deep breath. Notice the stretch here on this side. And now set both feet on the ground, and we'll roll over to our side and push yourself up to your seat. And then we're going to come forward onto hands and knees. And from hands and knees, your knees get to be wide or narrow, but we're going to take just a moment to shift hips back towards your heels. They don't have to go all the way back to your heels. They can be a little bit lifted or a lot lifted, but let your head rest down for a moment as you take a big breath and notice through the hips, through the low back, through the pelvis, the hamstrings. Notice whatever is there. And now inhaling, rising to hands and knees. Set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Press through palms and fingertips, and then find that rotation of upper arm bones. So elbow pits are turning a little forward. Push and expand into the upper back. Tuck toes, lift hips. Downward facing dog pose. And from down dog, instead of trying to reach your heels toward the ground, I want you to keep your knees bent. And with your knees bent, send your sitting bones up. So try tilting your pelvis so your belly moves towards your legs. And then from that place, a little sway side to side with your hips. Not bending one knee at a time, but instead lengthening from hip to armpit on one side, hip to armpit on the other side. And now walk your feet forward, coming into your forward fold. Take as many steps as you need to get there. You can always use props to help you get there too. Feet inner hip bone distance apart or wider, your choice. Take an inhale and lengthen part way, lift the heart up. Exhale and fold over the legs. Hands to hips, bent knees, squeeze your glutes. Lift with shoulders and elbows to rise all the way up to stand. Broad and open through the chest, and then reset the feet. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Lift and spread your toes, and then root them down. And now inhale, reach arms up overhead. Take a hold of opposite elbows overhead and lift through the elbows. Lift from the armpits, and then broaden tops of shoulders. And now a little side stretch over to the left side, lengthening through the right side body. Turn the right shoulder and the right armpit a little bit more open and upward. Push down through your feet. Lift your ribs just a little higher. Maybe take that side stretch a little bit further. Inhale back up to center. Switch the cross with your arms and then lengthen through the armpits. Lengthen the elbows and then broaden tops of shoulders. And then as you take your side stretch over to the right, so your left side body is lengthening. Little bend to your knees, push into the ground, and maybe lift your ribs a little higher. Turn the left elbow and shoulder more open. Inhale, back up to center. And exhale, release the arms wide open, bent knees, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Plant fingertips. You're stepping right foot back into your lunge. Turn and plant your right heel so your foot is parallel to the back of your mat. And then inhale, lift up into your warrior two. And as you settle into your front knee, finding that stacked place for your front shin, lift your heart up high and reach. Take your gaze over your front or left fingers. Deep breath. And now hands to hips. Work your left leg towards straight. Keep a little micro bend if you do tend to lock your knee joint. And then as you shift your hip crease back and extend your heart forward, you can reach the left arm. And then take your hand on the left side down to a block, your shin, your thigh, wherever you need to be to grow longer through your spine. Extend your heart toward the front of your mat, toward the front of your room. Turn your belly and your heart more upward. Maybe stretch, top arm to the sky. Both shoulder blades are engaging onto the back. Take a big, deep breath. See if you can feel the action at the left hip of turning the knee more toward the pinky toe edge. Now push into the ground. Inhale, rise all the way back up. Keep the left leg working towards straight. Hands to your hips. Push down and lengthen from hip to armpit. Lift your left arm and then stretch back. Reverse your triangle pose. As you reverse here, keep rotating the left knee more open toward the pinky toe edge. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, bend into your front knee. Plant your hands and step back. Downward facing dog or hands and knees. Take a big breath. Now your choice, stay here, come to a child's pose, or if you'd like to, you can move with me. Inhaling, coming forward into a plank. Knees are always okay to be on the ground or lifted. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Expand into the upper back. Extend your heart forward, keep toned through the core as you bend elbows and lower down. Inhale, curl up and open into whatever height cobra you need this morning. Broad and open through the shoulders. Exhale, downward facing dog pose, or hands and knees, your choice. Full big breath. And now walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. From your fold, bend your knees enough so maybe your belly can come to rest against your legs. And tilt your pelvis, trying to stick sitting bones up in the air. Now plant your fingertips, step your left foot back into your lunge. Turn and plant your back heel and inhale, rise up to your warrior two, facing the second side. And as you settle into your front knee, you're finding that opening all the way from the hip. Lift your ribs, your chest, your heart, and reach. Take a full breath. And now hands to your hips. Keep your knee opening toward the pinky toe edge and work your leg towards straight. See if you can do both at the same time. And now hinge at the hips so that you have a hip crease on the right side. Extend your heart forward and then take your hand to a block, the floor, your shin, your thigh, wherever you need to be to grow longer through your spine and turn open. So if your hand is too far down, sometimes it makes it harder to be long through your spine. So find that place for yourself. As you turn open, maybe extend the top arm, but put both shoulder blades on your back. Take a full breath. Keep finding that rotation of your knee turning toward the pinky toe edge. Now push through your feet, reach through the top arm and rise all the way back up. Take your hands to your hips. Keep turning open with your knee. Lift your ribs, your chest, your heart. Stretch straight up with your right arm and then reach back. And as you reach back, think less about trying to reach for the back of the room and more about trying to lift up with the ribs. Big, deep breath. Keep turning open through the front knee, lifting through the right ribs. Inhale all the way back upright, bend into your front knee. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes and once again, step back. Downward facing dog pose, hands and knees. You can take a child's pose here if you would like to instead. And we'll move through that thoughtful vinyasa again if you would like to, or stay in a more resting pose. So inhale, forward into your plank. Knees are always an option. Find that rotation of elbow pits forward and push. Extend your front, but don't let your belly drop. Keep your ribs active. Exhale, bend elbows, lower down. Inhale, curl up and open into your height cobra, whatever that looks like. Exhale, downward facing dog pose or hands and knees. Take a deep breath. And then lower knees down one more time for that child's pose, hips to heels or hips toward heels. Full big deep breath. And now inhaling, rise to hands and knees, and we're going to step right foot forward in between our hands. Blocks for hands if you want, if you have them. If not, that's okay too. But work your back knee back. So you're going to tuck the left toes and inch the back knee back as far as is okay in your body today. So a little more length through the back side. And now you're working hands to the inside. And again, you can always have props underneath your hands. Heel toe, the right foot out to the right. So your toes and knee are turned in the same direction. And then lift up with the front part of your right foot. So you're on your heel as your pivot point. And now open the knee up. And as you open the knee up, you're keeping your foot flexed and active. And now just a slight movement forward and back here with your hips. Not a big one, not trying to dump into the hip joint, but instead moving in that space. Keeping it controlled and active as you push the back knee down and keep the front foot flexed. That helps you sometimes to not dump into the hip joint. Good, okay. Bring the foot back into center and hands on either side of your front foot. And now we're gonna work a little bit more with the hamstring. So work your front leg towards straight, hips are shifting back. Ideally, we're finding that place of being stacked with that back thigh. Left thigh is straight up and down. And then flex your right foot rather. Pull your toes back on your front foot towards your knee and press your heel down until your knee has a little bit of lift. And now wrap your right hip back. Send your sitting bones up, extend forward with your heart. So you're trying to lift your butt in the air at the same time as moving your ribs forward. Little counter to what we tend to do in our hamstring stretches sometimes. Take a big deep breath. And now bend into your front knee and step back to hands and knees. And we'll switch sides. Stepping left foot forward in between your hands. Again, blocks or props, it can always be a stack of something for your hands. But we're gonna work the back knee back again. So tuck your back toes and inch your back knee as far back as is comfortable for your back thigh. And then work both hands to the inside. Heel toe your left foot out to the left. Knee and toes out at the same angle. And then flex. Lift the front part of your foot. So you're on your heel as your pivot point. And then open the knee up, pivoting on the heel. And as you do that, keep the back knee pressing down, the front foot is flexed, and then start to add that little pulse forward and back through the hips. And then foot back into center, heel toe it back in, hands on either side of your front foot, and then begin to work your hips back. I like to rise up high on my props here, but you can find wherever it is that your spine can be really long, and then shift where your front foot is so that the back thigh can be straight up and down. Wrists directly underneath your shoulders is a helpful place to help you find lots of length. So now as you flex your front foot and push down with your heel, let your knee have a little lift, wrap the left hip back, and then send the sitting bones up. Try to tilt your pelvis. Even though this is an asymmetric pose, try to tilt it so your belly is moving down. Full big deep breath as you move your ribs, your chest, your heart forward. Think of the front body getting longer. Full big breath. And now bend into your front knee. And you can set your hands and step back. And this time we're going to shift hips to the side, legs out in front. And we're actually going to come right down onto our back, just like the way we started out. So on your back with your knees drawing in towards your chest, rock side to side again, trying to get that length through the low back. And now we're going to open up our knee again. So set the left foot on the ground or left leg all the way out. And then open the right knee up to the right. Foot flexed, knee moving forward and back. And now a reclined version of tree pose. You're going to set your foot into the side of your leg. So right foot to the side of your leg. You might set a prop underneath your knee here. You have this one-sided hip opener that sometimes lets one side of the pelvis and low back release. Sometimes it just gives you a little bit of hip opener, so you get to notice what it does for you. Reach through your left heel, reach your arms overhead, take a full breath, and maybe reach enough so your low back tries to lift a little, and then send your breath into your low back muscles. Try to expand them on the inhale and release them on the exhale. One more big breath this way. And then lifting the right knee up toward the chest, you can give it a squeeze. And then set, right foot on the ground. Left knee draws in toward your chest. Your right leg can be bent here with your foot on the ground or extended, your choice. But we'll open the knee up first to the left side, give your foot a flex, and then a little movement forward and back with your knee. And then set your left foot in toward the side of your right leg. If you'd like, I always like a little added propping here for my knee because a reclined version is different than a sitting version or a standing version. So take a full big breath wherever that is as you allow the hips to open. Reach through the right heel, reach through the arms, take a big breath into your low back. And then bring your knee back up to center. You can hug it in here if you would like. And then both feet on the ground, and you're going to find your favorite version of a resting pose with props or without props. And set a bolster or a pillow underneath your legs if you would like to, or open your knees up into a butterfly with either a prop or blocks. Find how your body can settle and rest the best. Bring awareness to your breath. Add some gentle movement into fingers and into toes. As you're ready to bend your knees and make your way over to one side, use your hands to support you, allow your hips to stay heavy, and rise all the way back upright with your torso. With hands coming together at heart center in Anjali Mudra or prayer position. Eyes closed if it's comfortable. Take another moment to dedicate your breath and your practice to being compassionate to yourself, to making healthy choices for yourself as you move from your mat out into your day. Take a full, big, deep inhale. And exhale, bow towards your heart. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.